Hi folks, I'm Matt and welcome to My Expanded Universe, a show where I just keep going on and recording the same episode over and over because whenever I let Yubnub do the editing of my videos, I never get any sound. Okay, maybe it was me, but that's not the point. But you know what? It's okay because I get to talk about these books for a second time. Yay! No, actually, these are pretty good books, so I don't mind doing it all over again. The first one we're going to talk about is a comic book called Stalker. It was kind of a Shadows of the Empire one-shot written by Ryder Wenham, and it's starring, of course, everyone's favorite assassin, Jix, right? Yeah, you don't remember Jix. He was Shadows of the Empire character that mainly went forgotten, afterwards. But he was Darth Vader's right-hand man at one time. And Jix goes on a mission to Korolog where he's sent to assassinate Governor Turlock. But then he uncovers there's a deeper plot involving Black Sun. Now, this one-shot comic book, for all it's worth, was actually really good. Of course, I do like how Ryder Wenham writes a good story, and it's hard to do for a one-shot comic book of a character that no one really cares about. Now, I do appreciate Ryder Wenham's love for Shadows of the Empire and all the things he wrote to kind of, keep the story going, but it's kind of weird with Shadows of the Empire. Nothing ever really took off after it. I mean, they made some prequels, they did some sequels, like this comic book right here, but none of it really just caught on. Is it worth your time? Yeah, especially if you like Shadows of the Empire, I think it's worth your time, even though it doesn't really connect to Shadows of the Empire that much, but it is a decent one-shot, I should say. Now, the main thing I wanted to talk about was the Rebel Force series, another series of young adult books. This time they're written by Alex Wheeler, and the first book is called Target. Now, this one takes place a few years after A New Hope. The Empire is trying to figure out who was the name of that pilot who took out their Death Star. So they send a spy, and his name, wait for it, X7, because that's cool. He goes undercover with the rebels, and he befriends Luke, Han, Leia, the whole gang. And they go on a trip to Munilist where Luke enters into a pod race. C-3PO says, hey, I remember a pod race back in the day. And he almost mentions the Boonta Eve pod race. But then he gets interrupted, and we never know what he meant. I know what it was winking toward, the prequels, but is this a contradiction? Because C-3PO should have had his mind wiped, memory wiped by that time. That's why he doesn't remember anything or doesn't say anything to Luke Skywalker. I think he may have been talking about maybe one of the other races that he had during his adventures in droids. As you know, they did some, not pod racing, but they did some racing, around the moons of Bogdan or whatnot. So maybe, in my opinion, 3PO was going to talk about those. Now, in this X7, he has an alternate, alter ego he goes by. And he's just like a good old rebel, and he's just trying to figure out, hey, who is that hotshot pilot? He doesn't want to be too obvious because the rebellion knows the Empire's trying to find the name of that person who did it, but then they're giving away awards, so they're not being secretive about it either. So this doesn't seem like it would be that hard of a mission to infiltrate and find out. He does suspect Luke right off the bat because he's an excellent pilot, and so he just has to verify it. Now, why he just doesn't come out and say it, I don't know. Maybe he just didn't feel like it. But anyway, we go on to Book 2, and Book 2 is called Hostage. Now, in this book, Leia goes on a mission to visit some Alderaan refugees. And, she feels bad because, they don't have a plan anymore. They have bad conditions where they're staying right now. But there is one refugee who just does not like Leia. And they call the Empire on Leia to come pick, to get the Empire to come pick her up. They betrayed their princess. How could they? Well, it makes a lot of sense, right? Because in the traitor's mind, the Alderaan would still be around if Leia and her dad hadn't messed with that nasty old rebellion, which is probably true. Now, this is interesting because it does make sense. I kind of wonder why all Alderaanians didn't think, hey, you drug us into this. Of course, a lot of them agreed with her, so I get that. But like I said, she gets captured. Han, Luke, and X7 go to rescue her. And they also have the help of one of Leia's most trusted friends from back in the day, Ferris Ely, I-L-E-E, Ely, who cares? Anyway, it's really Ferris Olin. Yay! They brought him back. True, I wasn't happy to see Ferris Olin back in. Then I immediately realized, oh no, they're trying to make a sequel to Jude Watson's, Last of the Jedi. Oh, why didn't I see this coming? It's not written like Last of the Jedi series. Alex Wheeler does it differently. I like the way these books are written. I think the action's pretty on pace for a young adult novel. It doesn't feel too kiddie, as young adult novels sometimes do. These felt grown up. They respected both, the young adult reader and the adult that they probably knew was buying it. But overall, the story, in fact, with Hostage was pretty good. That's when X7 realizes that Luke is indeed the pilot who destroyed the Death Star. Even though he goes through ridiculous means to find out who it was, he does find out in this book. So, reading about Ferris Olin, reading about his return, oh no, I already knew what we were in for. Now, besides that, though, I wasn't going to let Ferris ruin this story. These are both two good books in addition to a lot of other young adult books we have, and I can't wait to talk about them more in another video.